If you want to build a multi-billion dollar company, just copy Apple. That's just what most founders think. And that is why they fail. Minimalism works for Apple because they already have the familiarity that they have built using a billion-dollar marketing budget. Witty tone works for Zomato because they have earned the right to be playful. But you're just trying to wear the costume without building the character. But what do you do if you don't copy these big brands? So that's exactly what I'm going to tell you in this video. And by the end of it, I'll give you an exact step-by-step framework that we use at SimplePlan to build brands. But what is SimplePlan? I'm Yogesh, I'm the founder of SimplePlan Media. We are a team of around 50, and in the last 8 years, we have built over 300 plus brands that have gone on to do over 100 million in revenue. This is what I do for my bread and butter, so I know what I'm talking about. So let's get right into it. The biggest branding mistake I see isn't a bad logo or bad colors. It's founders who are obsessively studying these billion-dollar brands like Nike and Apple and Zomato and thinking that is how identity is built. So what's actually happening is you see a cool-looking brand on the internet. You know what I'm talking about. You go to the internet, you see these cool-looking brands, these legacy brands who have very clean-looking websites, black and white aesthetics, sans serif fonts. You think that's what success looks like. So you try to replicate it in your brand. Most of them have been in business for over 20, 30 odd years. So people know who they are. So branding is not what is the actual pull or lever that is making a buying decision for the end consumer. People are not going to Apple because they have a new ad which is very cool. And similarly, you can take the example of Zomato as well. People see their cool marketing and how they're always active with the moment marketing things that Zomato does, and they're always quirky and cool. And if you're a business owner, you look at it and you're like, oh my god, they're so cool. Why can't my brand do that? They can do that because they have earned the right to be playful, because of the identity they have built over the last 10 odd years or so. You can't do that because why you are selling SaaS? Why are you playful first of all? You're selling B2B. What has gone on to build that brand is important, not the actual output which you're trying to replicate. So what I'll do is I'll give you a very easy to understand 3-step framework so that you can get this right for your brand. Identity does not come from references. It comes from these 3 places. And if you nail them right, then you have a solid brand. So let's break it down into a step-by-step process. So the old way was just to look at 10 different competitors, copy what looks good, and then hoping this works. It was simple, it was linear, it was 3 steps. So this was the old way of doing things. This does not work anymore. The new way of doing things is identify the frustration that your customer is facing. That is the first step. Map the escape route, spend real time understanding what your customer is trying to get away from. Not in general terms, specifically write it down. They're tired of, what is that thing that they're tired of? Second one would be that they never want to deal with this again. And the third one would be they are frustrated by what? If you can't answer all these 3 very clearly, then you're not ready for branding yet. So you have to answer all 3 of them. Step 2 would be to identify the compromise, what they're currently putting up with, what they have accepted as just how it is. Here you have to talk to people directly and identify what are the problems that they face with the current brands that are out there in the market right now. This would help you to identify a gap that could become a strongest lever for your brand. So here you have to talk to 10 customers basically. So in that question, you have to ask what is the worst part of dash industry, skincare, that you are just tired of, that you don't never want to deal with, but you have to deal with currently. That exact gap will become your opportunity. And all of them might have some certain issues with them. But what is the compromise that the customer is okay with? What are they currently tolerating? If you can identify that gap, that gives you leverage to enter and penetrate and solve that problem. Step 3 is your non-negotiables. What is it that you will not do even if everyone else is doing it? So the questions that you answer here are, we will never dash. We refuse to. What? We simply won't dash. Even if it means that we lose customers. This is where identity gets built, not on what you add, but what you subtract. So if everyone in your domain is running discounts or ads or offers on, let's say, festivals like Diwali or Holi or Eid or anything, maybe you as a brand refuse to ever give discounts. That's also how you can stand out. And then we finally move on to the you designing based on the info you got from these 3 steps. So this will define our new process and how our brand is going to be built. Most founders skip these 3 important steps entirely, or they answer it very vaguely. They just make mental notes and then go on to the next step, which is let me hire a designer or a website developer and let me just launch this brand, which is why they end up replicating bigger brands that they have seen in the world. And that's exactly what we focus on at SimplePlan. We spend 60% of the time to figure out the positioning and answering these 3 questions properly, because the clarity that it gives you cannot be replicated at any other step when you're building a brand or scaling your business. By the way, we've broken down this complete process on our YouTube channel. We post videos every Thursday. So don't forget to hit the subscribe button. It's free of cost, so it's not going to cost you anything, but it gives us confidence to keep on going and make these detailed breakdowns that helps you to grow your business. We have an entire documentary series which shows you how we work on brands transparently. You can also emulate this process with your brand. Let me give you a few examples to break this down and how it works in real world. Let's take Whole Truth, because that's one of the brands that did invest the right amount of time on branding. Everyone in food basically makes natural, healthy and clean claims. But Whole Truth, they focus on the whole truth. So in these 3 levers, what are customers escaping? Being misled by ingredient lists. Second, what are they tolerating? Marketing that does not match reality. And third, what do they refuse to do? Which is hide anything ever. And that becomes their pillar of the complete identity. Let's take CRED as an example next. Everyone in the fintech industry talked about value. Cashback, value, rewards. But CRED asked some different questions. What are customers escaping? Financial products that feel cheap. What are they tolerating? Brands that treat everyone the same. And what will they refuse to do? Be accessible to everyone. That decision made exclusivity their identity and scarcity became valuable. Most brands do not need to look premium, and most brands do not need to copy giants like Apple or Nike or Zomato, because none of that makes you cool. Making actual sense to your end consumers is what makes you cool in the eyes of your target audience, because no one really chooses what looks the best. They choose what feels right to them. And if your brand looks like any big brand out there, then you're simply invisible, because a lot of other brands are also copying the same thing. What you have to focus on is standing out and making sure that you look very distinct, especially from all the competitors that are available in your specific niche. And that's the hard part. Most founders skip this because these questions are difficult to answer. They make you question yourself if what you're starting and what you're building is even the right business to start with. So just to summarize again, start with understanding what your customers are trying to escape from. Then talk to real people. Talk to as many as possible, but at least talk to 10 people, and identify what other brands in your domain are not able to solve, because that becomes your competitive edge. Then finally, list down what you really stand for and what are the things that you will never compromise upon, because that becomes your lever to success. Once all 3 of these questions are well articulated and answered, only then you have a real shot of building a business. Then get into the real side of branding, designing, coming up with a visual identity, a website, and all of that. And I can challenge you, there is not even one successful brand in the world that has not followed this trajectory. And of course, if you do know of a brand that became famous and you think they cannot follow these 3 questions, then I would love to discuss it. Like, drop a comment. I read every single one of them and I will surely respond back. So if you came across this video and found this insightful, share this with a friend or someone that you know who's starting a brand and is probably hiring a logo designer right now to get started with the branding process, because you'll end up saving them a ton of money. So that's it for today. We make weekly videos on branding, design, building a business, coming up with positioning, strategy, and how you can build a business out there. So if you're an aspiring founder or if you're someone in the creative industry, make sure that you hit the subscribe button. Until next time, may the force be with you. Insights. Follow.